Greetings, fellow ALAR-1 students. My topic for this semester's capstone presentation will be unjustly vilifying law enforcement based upon the actions of a few. The effects of anti-law enforcement rhetoric on both law enforcement and the community at large. Introduction. Statistics. According to the FBI LEOKA program, 23% more law enforcement officers have been murdered in the same period of 2020 as 2019. This is in large part due to anti-law enforcement rhetoric creating anti-law enforcement violence as well as a general disrespect towards law enforcement. Story of Officer Joseph Mensa. Officer Mensa was physically assaulted and his home was vandalized on September 8, 2020 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Protesters also fired a single shotgun round into Officer Mensa's home. All the while, protesters chanted Black Lives Matter. The irony is that Officer Mensa's and his family's lives did not matter because they were either a police officer or associated with a police officer. Story of Captain David Dorn. Captain David Dorn was murdered by a thug on June 2nd over a television in St. Louis, Missouri. Captain David Dorn was responding to a call at his friend's pawn shop, where he was then brutally murdered by a thug who was a vibrant member of his community, and he will forever be missed. Law enforcement. What is it, and what do they do for the community? Law enforcement is the act of enforcing the law, usually done by someone who wears a badge and carries a firearm. Law enforcement members not only enforce the law, they also help the community by purchasing food for needy people, delivering babies on the side of the road, running into towers on 9/11, and running into burning buildings. Why does this matter? It matters because all human life is sacred and we are made in the image of God. It matters because law enforcement protects us. It matters because if there was no law enforcement, no one would be there to protect law-abiding citizens. Finally, it matters because anti-law enforcement rhetoric makes communities more dangerous. Judge interaction and statistics. I would like to ask you a question. What does law enforcement mean to you? I would like you to reflect on this question as well. NYPD retirements are up 25% over the same period last year. This is in large part due to anti-police rhetoric. Spectrum News. Thesis and presentation map. Thesis. Anti-law enforcement rhetoric is hurting not only law enforcement, but the community at large. Presentation map. My first component will be anti-law enforcement rhetoric. My second component will be the effects of anti-law enforcement rhetoric on law enforcement. My third and final component will be the effects of anti-law enforcement rhetoric on the community. Effects of anti-law enforcement rhetoric on the community. More crime, less law enforcement. Communities lack trust in law enforcement. Only 40% of African Americans trust law enforcement, according to the Cato Institute. According to Gallup, 68% of Chicago's fragile community would like more police. According to Fox Business, damage from George Floyd riots will cost at least $1 billion, not to mention the many hours that the business owners have invested in growing their business, which is now destroyed. Property damage as a result of anti-law enforcement rhetoric. Jim Siegel, the owner of Axeman Surplus, was forced to hide in a bathroom while his business was ransacked. Kay Bala, a firefighter and sports bar owner, received the call that rioters had burned his dream to the ground before he had even served one customer or had one game party. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a good day.